Welcome back to Bitcoin.com Expert Interviews. My name is Corbin Fraser, and on this week's show, we have Joseph Collement, our Chief of Legal here at Bitcoin.com. He's a veteran in the Bitcoin and crypto space, having founded Crypto Lawyers. He's worked with institutions that are very well known within the crypto space. We're going to learn all about his history in Bitcoin and how he got to be at Bitcoin.com, and we're going to learn a little bit more about some of his upcoming speaking engagements at Paris Blockchain Week, where he'll be speaking a little bit more about the legal and compliance world within this exciting world of Bitcoin and crypto. So without further ado, let's pass the mic over to Joseph. Welcome, Joseph. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for the interview, man.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing this for a while, so we had a nice little opening, kind of open up, and seemed like an opportunity to annoy you, interrupt your morning.
Yeah. So for context for the audience, Corbin and I have been working together for maybe 6 years now. So it's been a while. I mean, I think it's not hard to find people that's been working that long in crypto and that have been working that long, together as well. So
Yeah, we've had the pleasure of jamming on all sorts of projects, from exchanges to OTC to fiat to crypto on-ramps and all the exciting regulations and pain points that occasionally occur there. And I think as well as building out this self-custody wallet app at Bitcoin.com. So it's been a fun 6 years, I think, jamming together. So I'm excited to kind of hear more about your backstory. I feel like we talk so much about business, we don't often get to kind of catch up a little bit on like how we all got here and how we got into this weird space. So maybe that's what we should jump into first here, is just give us your background. What got you into Bitcoin? What was your first introduction to BTC or crypto? And yeah, how did you get your start?
sounds good. Yeah. So how did I get started? That's a weird question. I haven't talked about that in a while, but pretty much, back in 2013, I was in law school. So I was at first year law student, and I had a classmate that was really into crypto, and we were just reading in class, like literally, and during the classes, he was just like trading. I forgot the exchange, but he was trying to get me into it, and I was pretty much broke at the time, so it was like investing $100 was not like manageable for me,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just kind of like I was like, whatever, crypto is, it's not for me.
It's a
And
rich man's game.
yeah, so even back then, crypto was less than $100 in
Yeah.
2013. It seemed unattainable for me. I was just really like broke law students. So fast forward, law school is 3 years. So third year of law school, since 2017, Bitcoin is really, really warming up, and we're seeing this crazy amount of interest, especially for retail. We're seeing Ethereum summer, I think, I forgot if it's summer 2016 or 2017. Ethereum going up like crazy. We're seeing all the shit coins, altcoins, coming into the market. And, I had a bit more money because I had, some jobs, some law jobs, and started getting into it. And that same friend, Raphael, who ended up being my business associate for a few years, back like by then he was almost full time into it. So what we saw as we graduated law school, we saw this giant gap where everyone was talking about crypto, but there's literally no one providing legal advice on crypto. And it's kind of weird because there's no such thing as a crypto lawyer or a crypto law, especially back then. But we saw all these people with a bunch of questions and no one to answer them. So we pretty much created a website. It's called thecryptolawyers.com. And we had a message box where you could leave a message, ask a question. I think it was literally the only thing the website was doing back in 2017. And we just started receiving like so many messages every day, thousands of messages. It wasn't business yet, it was just like a website. And we both quit our jobs. So we had first year associate jobs, the basic after law school jobs. And yeah, not really playing something we enjoy doing that much, and not getting paid a lot. So we just quit our job and started full time as crypto lawyers, and we did that for did that for 2 years, and it was kind of crazy because we didn't know anything, but we were able to work with really, really smart people that helped us, and we learned a lot as well. And Bitcoin.com ended up being one of the client of the crypto lawyers. And you guys were a client for a little bit, and then I decided to leave the crypto lawyers, leave the reins to Rafael, who is a great guy, phenomenal lawyer, and join Bitcoin.com as the general counsel. And it's been 6 years already.
Yeah, I think for context, in 2017 there were no rules. 2015 through 2017, it was the wild wild west of Bitcoin and crypto, and everyone was kind of operating for the most part under this like we'll figure out the law compliance thing later. So you had, this was the mania of ICOs. This was the mania of new, the random altcoins or shit coins. And, you had different versions of marketing gimmicks to try to capture some attention of, there were projects that would call themselves like, we're like the Chinese Ethereum.
Yeah.
And people would get all excited about that sort of stuff. Yeah. So
It's nice Ethereum, the Korean Ethereum, just like all kind of Ethereums.
Everything was trying to be an Ethereum killer because Ethereum was like the number two thing that was ripping, and very few other crypto projects had kind of seen big multiples beyond Bitcoin at the time. And I think, a lot of projects were trying to kind of join the smart contract space, and some are around today and actually did what they accomplished, and then many just took a bunch of people's money and sadly didn't deliver or just took the money and ran. It was a weird time in the Bitcoin and crypto history. So I guess in those early days, could you tell us maybe were there any weird what were some of the weird interactions that occurred in that period when you started the crypto lawyers with Rafael?
So I'm not gonna go into details, obviously. But um, we had some pretty crazy story where it was the ICO bubble 2017. So like leading into 2018, we had those projects like literally a bunch of Russian dudes, working out of their mom's and dad's basement that just raised like millions of dollars. We had projects that like raised tens of millions of dollars, and they just had a website. And so now they're just like honest guys, right? They're not scamming anyone, but could just did they have a website, they have a proof of concept, they want to build this like whatever, new chain was gonna revolutionize cloud computing or something. And they end up like literally people would throw money at that because there's no rules, no regulation. Uh on site, and you just had the clicker where you put, you would put Ethereum and then receive the token later during the token loss. And those people ended up with so much money, and they had absolutely got no entity. They had pretty much had no idea what they were doing, and then they needed help. And so we kind of had to figure it out. Then we had to worry about how the SEC works because in the U.S., the SEC, prior to Gensler, was really cracking down on shitcoins. He was really the previous SEC head was Donald Wang against ICO and stuff like that. So we had to figure out a way like okay, if you don't interact with US people, like what are the complications, and there's just like there's no again there's no laws, so you need to be able to look at the laws in different countries, especially in the US, because right now I'm talking about the US market, and figure out what laws and rules apply. And so mostly when you talk about most of the time when we talk about crypto, it's really gonna be like FinCEN and like AML stuff and the SEC securities laws. Right, those are kind of like the two people who are actually that keep coming back in crypto. So yeah, we have to figure out how does that work? How do you apply those laws to make sure that you're not engaging in illegal money transmitting without a license? You're not violating rules about sanctions, that you're not offering securities to U.S. persons. But it's fun. It's fun, and I think we ended up helping a lot of projects.
You're now chief of legal here at Bitcoin.com. Fill the gaps between 2018 and 2024 now. What are some of the projects that you got to work on here at Bitcoin.com that I guess allowed you to sharpen your knife a little bit and cut your teeth and get you to a point where, yeah, you kind of you're at the top now. You got a team now of compliance and different people that are reporting up to you now, and I guess
Sure.
tell us about that.
Yeah, so like, yeah, well, what happened, since 2018, since I joined the company and like fast forwarding to now, which is 6 years, lots happened. I think Bitcoin.com is in a unique position of being a self-custody company, right? Meaning that we don't take control of the assets that are sent to our wallets, which is our main product, the Bitcoin wallets. The user is always going to have a key, right? That's crucial for everyone to understand, and that's really like the value proposition that sets us apart. Is that we had this like insane brand, Bitcoin.com, and we got this crazy website that everyone wants to buy from us, and then we also have this like really good app where you can store your crypto, but it's self-custodial, and that makes my job really easy. Or at least it makes it easier than if I were like a Coinbase or Binance, right? Because those companies actually take custody of the customer's funds, and that means that they have to abide with the sets of insane rules, whether it's FinCEN rules, money translating, AML, even some securities rules, although securities law does apply to Bitcoin.com as well. But because we don't take custody or users funds, we're not subject to like a lot of rules that we would be otherwise if we were like Coinbase. And you know, first of all, like figuring this out that takes some work, and our infrastructure works because we partner with a lot of people that make it happen. And so a big part of the job is to go to our partners and explain how we work and really trying to understand what is self-custody, what are the rules that apply to self-custody.
Maybe what are the main points? Because there's probably going to be some folks watching this video who are looking at the space. They're looking at crypto. They're seeing maybe some hype come back into the Bitcoin and crypto space, and they've got a great idea. They've got a team ready to build, and they feel that the best way for their project to succeed is to have a token. I guess could you walk through your typical project like that who's looking at a token? What are the things that they need to be most concerned about, and what are the things that you would recommend a new project do to kind of kickstart things in the safest way possible?
If you were philosophical, what would I say? That could help. So first of all, I'm not your lawyer. I'm Bitcoin.com's lawyer, so I can't give legal advice to anyone. But there's a there's a issue with wanting to be able to comply with regulations, and at the same time, there's the issue of launching a token timely without incurring too many expenses. It's better to have a lawyer in-house with skin in a game, whether it's token or equity, because that lawyer is going to fight hell for you, and he's going to really push, to the limit until it's like, not legal, but staying within the legal limits. He's really going to fight for you. And people say maybe it's taking risks. I say, as long as you stay within the limits of the law, there's still, you can always push and you can always innovate, within the legal profession. And that would be like the biggest advice that I have for your projects. Try to find someone that is willing to work with you guys. Don't hire a firm that's gonna bill you on an hourly basis. If you're not hire or not that firm, at least have them, bill on a project basis, or less alternative, hire someone to work full time with you. It may be a big expense at first, then down the line, it's gonna save you so much more money. And that
Yeah.
person is here for the upside. They want to see the token go up. They want to see the product do well. And smart lawyers, I'm not saying I'm smart, but like the smartest lawyers, they go in crypto because that
Yeah.
that is where. And right now you got AI, right? And especially the intersection of AI and crypto. But like the smartest lawyers, they like billing. I've worked a year, and billing like thousands of hours every year. It's horrible, and you never end up doing a good job for your client. And then there's a better way, and that way is to work out for the line.
So if you're a new project, you need to find a high T lawyer who's risk on, who's willing to be paid in tokens with skin in the game, and finds that balance between keeping you out of trouble, keeping you safe, and keeping you compliant, and keeping your project going forward.
100%.
You're speaking at Paris Blockchain Week, April 9th through to April 11th. Can you tell us more about what they have you talking about? What your talk is about? What the panel is? Tell us about Paris Blockchain Week. Who's going to be there? What's it all about?
Sure. So the Paris Blockchain Week is gonna be next week. I'm looking at my calendar. It's I think it's on the 9th to the 11th. I'm not sure. But it's gonna be fun. I've been there a few times. It's the first time that I'm there as a speaker, and it's quite fun because I think this year it's gonna be in the Louvre, which is obviously a lot of people know about this museum. It's a really nice museum. It's quite a big conference. Like every year, they have a lot of people. I think last year, Sydney was there. I think he's gonna come this year, but
I think he's locked down in the U.S. I don't think
yeah,
he's going
I
to be
think
able
it's
to get
me.
out.
But it's gonna be a fun conference, and I'll be talking. So I'll be there's another conference also. It's a tax speed. It's hosted by tax speeds. And so I'll be talking about on this side events and also the credit blockchain. And I'll be mainly talking about regulation and policy within crypto.
Very cool.
So yeah, it's gonna be fun. And if you're in town, 100% go. I'll be speaking on Thursday at 12 p.m. on the main stage, I think, of the Paris blockchain. If you're at the conference and you see me, please come say hi. I'd love to talk to you. But it's going to be a lot of fun. For
Show him
sure.
your tokens.
Yeah, show me your token. I'll be an advisor. It's going to cost you a lot of money, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah, he'll keep you out of trouble, but he's going to take a big bag.
Yeah.
Okay, so the legal landscape of crypto is this like ever evolving monster, and nobody can wrangle it. Not even the lawyers. It's just this. It's the succubus that continues to suck. Tell us how that landscape has changed over the past few years with your experience working in crypto, and where do you see it going over the coming years?
For sure. So the question is like, how can I describe the landscape of crypto? I think I would put an idea of like how the landscape looks back in 2016, 2017, 2018, and how it evolved. So in 2016, 2017, 2018, I call it the Coinbase model, where pretty much like Coinbase came up with this, brilliant idea of, hey, we're gonna get money transmitting license in all 50 states, and that way, we'll be able to transmit money because back then FinCEN had issued an opinion saying that crypto is like money when it comes to money transmitting. So they ended up registering with FinCEN, which is quite easy, and then getting like all those licenses, which cost a ton of money because for every license that you get in every state, you also need to have a bond, right? So the licensing scheme in the States is to protect the customer. So you leave a bond, it's like millions of dollars per bond per state. So that you kind of to guarantee that you're not gonna scam, the customers of that state. So getting NGLs in all 50 states costs a ton of money. And so they kind of came up with this model because there's no rules, right? The government never gave any rules as to, hey, you need to do that. But they did that so they would pretty much like outspend and every other company from, ever being able to compete and be an exchange in the US. And it kind of worked for a while because like companies were not able to get those licenses because it costs so much money. And like still to this day, you have a lot of companies that actually don't even need those licenses that are getting that and you're getting. It's like no one knows why, but if you're in crypto, you're an exchange, you need money transfer license. And there's other ways to be able to work as an exchange in the US. But yeah, people are just stuck on this idea like I have to get money transmitting license. And so
Sounds
this
like a
is
good
kind of a long
racket.
story.
Yeah.
Like it's a racket. So it's a long story to say that the biggest player, especially that like from 2013 to 2017 in the exchange world, Coinbase for sure. Even though they didn't have any altcoins until pretty late compared to Binance, Bittrex, etc. Like Coinbase, it's a crazy volume with Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Ethereum. And they just created this monopoly by creating this barrier to entry by requiring everyone to get money transmitting license if they were an exchange. So that's just a good example of like industry players setting the standards and kind of creating this like racket of hey, you can't compete with us because of your license. Like I feel like back then there was lawyers had no idea what they were doing. Like some people said you need to get a trust in that state and though you will be able to operate an exchange anywhere in the States. Some lawyers were saying you need to register money transmitting licenses everywhere. Some lawyers said, you need to register with the SEC to be an exchange, which is done. And yeah, it was kind of a mess. I think today is quite different. Today we have ex-politicians, we have ex-bankers, ex-SEC players that are working in the industry because it's a much more mature industry. I think it's like a more than a $2 trillion industry. So it attracted a lot of ex regulators and ex talents, from all those scary three-letter agencies. And so now we definitely have more better base understanding of what we need to know, what we need to do, if we want to do an exchange, if we want to launch a token, but obviously it's still, especially with regard to launching a token, it's still quite not enough. Because Gary Gensler is going to tell you that everything that's not Bitcoin and Ethereum is a security, and Judge are literally going to contradict him right now. It's not a security, so it is very tricky to navigate the laws still to this date, but it's getting better every year.
Yeah. So recently we've seen a few major updates from different centralized exchanges. There's been a bit of a mass exodus in privacy coins that have just been getting delisted across major exchanges from Binance to KuCoin to you name it. I guess could you explain what is the cause of all of the privacy coins being delisted? Bitcoin.com, we've been exploring various different privacy coins from Monero to Zano, including a bunch of new modern tech in terms of privacy on EVM. So we're curious, I think where that space is going, and I'd love to hear from you, what you think the cause of this is, and where you see that privacy regulation going in the future.
Yeah, so the question is, why do we see this trend of exchange delisting privacy coins? So what is a privacy coin? My understanding of a privacy coin is a coin like Monero, for example, which instead of being pseudonymous like Bitcoin, where if you go on the if you try to do if you go on the Chain Explorer, you're just going to see a set of numbers, and it's you can eventually tie it to someone's identity. Privacy coin or coins that where it'd be basically impossible to tie someone's IP or identity to a transaction or to a coin. And the answer is quite clear. We see politicians like Elizabeth Warren, and young, as well, who understand that that privacy coins are they exist that threatens the US dollars because they see a cryptocurrency, so it can't be governed. There's no central entity. It can be exchanged freely by anyone in the world. There are people, those politicians are scared that people are going to flee into this crypto and they won't be able to track, right, the transactions. So one excuse that the government generally use for banning or threatening to ban privacy coin is money laundering. And they say that these cryptos are used by money launderers, Hamas or whatever, and maybe you are, but so is the US dollars and the rubles and radios, right? All currencies of all sorts are being used for money laundering, and I don't think it's there was a study that was made. I don't know if it was by the CIA director or by someone within a thriller agency, but similar. But they explained that the actual amounts of money laundering that's done through crypto, especially privacy coin, is actually very minimal, right? And when you compare it in percentage to the amount of money laundering that's done through just fiat currencies, it's quite minimal.
For sure.
So it's kind
Yeah,
of
I
a
mean, the
go
barrier
ahead.
of entry to potentially do illicit activities with money is probably much lower, with a briefcase full of cash than it is with, setting up your own privacy node, setting up a wallet, trying to make sure that your coins are all clean and untraced, and then making sure that you've got it all set up there somehow. I mean, it's a lot of, I think it's a lot of fear mongering, as far as I can tell, that kind of caused that illicit gut reaction to just say it's terrible. We got to get rid of that one. That's
Yeah.
too it's too private. Bitcoin pseudonymous. It's close enough. That's all you need. But you don't need real privacy because that would be a problem.
On one hand, you have the government that's trying to put, central digital currencies. So like literally, they want to be able to cut out the banks and have a currency that issued directly by the government. And to obviously, you gotta hate privacy coin. Obviously, they gotta hate Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency that you can govern, but you can block. Like they already hate Bitcoin, so I can't imagine how much they hate privacy coins. We know we have this in China, right? And we see controls on capital. It's like many changed, but I think it was $10,000 a year. That you can, that's the maximum uh, that you can exit from the country every year. And you see the social scores and everything is centralized through one app. The U.S. government and other governments in the world are trying to emulate the system. They criticize the system, but at the same time, but they love it. And obviously, Bitcoin is the key, literally and figuratively, to opt out of this centralized system where the currency is being devalued through inflation and controlled by the government.
Yeah, yeah. So lots of exciting news happening within the Bitcoin space in the last, I'd say, 6 months here with Bitcoin ETFs, and there's been rumors of Ethereum ETFs and other blue chip crypto, perhaps getting ETFs as well. I guess where do you see the Bitcoin and crypto landscape going over the next couple years here? It at least to me, it does feel like we're heading into a something of a bull cycle, but it doesn't really feel like the same type of bull cycle as previous years, where this one feels a little bit more led by institution and not by retail. So I'm curious to know from your perspective, given your expertise in law, and legal, and compliance, where you see the industry going in the next year or two.
So I think the industry, so what excites me the most about the industry right now is first it's really this involvement from financial institutions like BlackRock. I think it's phenomenal to see Larry Fink. Whatever you want to say about Larry Fink, phenomenal to see the guy talk about Bitcoin and tell publicly on news channels that all investors should have a little bit of an allocation of crypto and Bitcoin in the portfolio. It is phenomenal. So on one hand, we have this insane uh, interest from financial institutions, which in my opinion is going to grow to support sovereign funds, countries, retirement funds. We're gonna see that maybe that's my opinion. I think we're gonna see a lot of more funds that are gonna flow through Bitcoin, and that's going to create all-time highs, which is going to help companies like Bitcoin.com and all those smaller companies to, develop tools that fully incorporate the technology, blockchain technology, and Bitcoin, and this idea that crypto is supposed to be self-custodial, all right? Because the first portion, industry portion, which is really the financialization of Bitcoin, is all custodial. If you go and buy ETF like BlackRock ETF, you're really buying a virtual share of their ETF and it's your brokerage account. You only have custody over it. So, but I'm really excited that because I bought Bitcoin through Coinbase the first time that I did it in 2017. I didn't know what a self-custody wallet was. I thought, Coinbase was just like a wallet. There's only one wallet. It was Coinbase. And I think people that are going to Bitcoin probably go through the same experience, or either they'll buy the share of the new Bitcoin TS, or they'll buy their account Coinbase, and slowly as they educate themselves, because it is a rabbit hole, right? As slowly you're educating yourself on Bitcoin, you gotta learn about some sort of wallets. You're gonna learn about what's especially like about whoever they are or his intention was to create their cash. And once you understand that, you can't really stay just within that custodial Coinbase round. You have to really believe and go into DeFi and self custody and so this interest from all this by big financial institutions, you're gonna bring a lot of people, and those people are not gonna go through Bitcoin products, and then yeah, they'll eventually end up using all products, and it's gonna be worse because it's going to bring tons and tons of people to the Bitcoin.com wallets, and hopefully to other wallets as well. It's time, it's time to see this shift from centralized exchanges, whether you're a fiat exchange or crypto exchange, for like self custody. You should the same way you should hold gold yourself. You live in Vietnam. I live in France. You know the importance of gold, right? Especially in the Vietnamese culture, and a lot of people in France. I would say most people in France don't own gold. Let's say everyone in Vietnam, holds a little bit of gold, and people slowly are figuring out with Bitcoin that it's you should hold in Bitcoin.
Yeah,
It's
I think the
Go
West
ahead.
has been really, they've been really fortunate in that they maybe haven't had the same type of monetary experience growing up where they've dealt with this mass inflation or hyperinflation. Like you said, when I talk to folks in Vietnam, they've lived through hyperinflation since they were kids. When I talk to my wife about how much 500 Vietnamese dong used to be able to get in terms of food, and now it's worth less than like a penny. And the idea that now that like the highest Vietnamese dong denominated bill you can get is $500,000. 500,000 dong,
Wow.
but the value of that in U.S. dollars is only about like $30. There is no higher bill. It's a really strange. It's a strange feeling, and I think the folks in Vietnam, yeah, they're investing in gold and land. Very few hold a lot of cash. They all kind of are worried about holding that volatile kind of fiat currency, and they'll still use it for transacting and things like that, but it's not treated as a savings vehicle in the same way that I think people in Canada or probably in France would treat like the euro or the Canadian dollar, where you just trust the status quo of it's the dollar. What can be wrong with that? It's as good as gold. Why do I need to deal with complicated metals and things like that? But I think now with the post-COVID world, it seems like a lot of the inflation has been heating up around the world, and more and more people are kind of giving an honest look at Bitcoin and crypto and these alternative monetary assets. It's an interesting time for sure.
Yeah, 100%. People and friends are starting to see, they're starting to taste inflation. And prices have risen like crazy. Not just real estate, but food and from my anyways, people are eventually going to understand that inflation or hyperinflation doesn't only apply to Venezuela or Vietnam. It does in the West as well. And eventually they'll look into gold, silver, and eventually Bitcoin, especially for the
Yeah.
new generations that are more with an iPad in hands.
Yeah, I think nowadays it's gotten so much easier. When you and I, first started at Bitcoin.com, things were still pretty tricky to get into Bitcoin and crypto. Like the user experience has come a long ways. It's not perfect by any stretch of the means, but for any ordinary folk who's like questioning the status quo of their government issued currency, or are looking for alternative assets to preserve their wealth in, where they're not so at the mercy of a single asset class or a single type of asset, it's gotten so much easier to dabble in, Bitcoin and crypto and stable coins and, exotic assets and DeFi protocols that can earn passive yield. And it's an interesting time for young people to kind of get into the space and, I think both onboard themselves and then in the future onboard their families once they're more comfortable with it. And we see this with each bull cycle. It does tend to create a bit of a network effect growth each cycle. So
100%. Couldn't agree more.
so I think in the as these cycles continue to grow and grow, this on average it does seem like we're trending towards there's a 3 to 4 year cycle where things are great for a little while, and then there's a couple years of it's blood in the streets and things aren't so great. And we've seen this cycle repeat a few times now. In each of these cycles there does tend to be an increase in crypto scams. I think scammers are usually the first people to enter the newest tech and find ways to exploit the trust and excitement of people in this space. However, I would argue that there are a lot of also questionable people within, let's say, the traditional finance world, the politicians and pundits. I guess, where do you see the similarities, or are there any particular people within those politicians and pundits that make you, as a lawyer, see a lot of similarities to the scammers you see in these different cycles?
Yeah, we definitely see. We know in the U.S. as a lot of politicians are black. You buy big companies, and it's always usual suspects, right? We see anti-crypto politicians trying to pass a bill, and then when you look at their donors list, their donors are banks, credit card companies, banking companies, just that traditional finance, which is still for some weird reason anti-crypto. It's getting better though. There's a lot of companies, TradeFi companies that are now willing to work, and a lot of banks that are willing to work with crypto, but still takes tons of time. If you want to work with an acquirer in your crypto company, it takes forever, to get all the approval for the banks. Most of it is due to the bad reputation that we get from just a cohort of government officials that are just pushing an agenda they don't even believe in, which is a anti-crypto agenda.
Yeah, it seems like it's really heated up in the last couple years. You know, personally, I've seen, you know, the ones that show up the most on social feeds, I would say, are you know, the Elizabeth Warrens, the Gary Gensler, even Joe Biden, and some folks within the Democratic Party. You know, I'm sure that there are some Republicans that are also taking that kind of more staunch anti-crypto stance as well. But you know, I think the most interesting thing I've seen in the last little while is the fact that, you know, the former president, you know, Donald Trump, launching his own NFTs on Polygon. You know, it's so funny that within this world of pundits and politicians that you have just such a vast spread of opinions on what is good and what is bad when it comes to crypto. And is Bitcoin safe? Is Bitcoin worth dabbling in for normal people? And yeah, the moving goalposts for the folks that are anti crypto is really just the most hard to swallow pill, but not exactly unexpected, let's say.
Yeah, so about Trump, I think he's brilliant. Would I buy a Trump NFT? No, no, I wouldn't. But would I buy a baseball card? No, like it's not really something I would do. There's baseball cards from the 60s that are trading for like millions of dollars, right? And NFTs, call it what you want, hate it or love it, it is an extension of you know, that whole technology where it's a collectible. It's a digital collectible. And even if you hate it, some people love it. And if you love Trump and you want to buy this, it's for a game, right? Trump has a huge audience. There's always people willing to buy merch. It's just digital merch, and it's also a good way to. There's definitely a huge segment. I would say like 90% of crypto is probably for Trump, right? For one reason or another, maybe just for the memes, right, and the gifts. But a lot of people in crypto love Trump, and it's a great way for him to engage. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's already the case that he's taking donations in crypto. Wouldn't surprise me at all. I know a bunch of presidential candidates have done that before. Yang, like 4 years ago, another one. But honestly, I'm pretty sure he's gonna accept donations in crypto, and that could like crypto. A lot of people say that this year, this election is going to be a crypto election. It could like last 4 years ago, it was a COVID election. This year, it could be a crypto election.
Yeah,
You
I
see
suspect it'll
RFK,
be. Yeah.
yeah, RFK going to probably 2 or 3 clubs, and you're talking about crypto. You see a genuine, honest interest on politicians to have a discussion about crypto, and try to figure out as crypto as being in the industry for a long time. We know that the next president is going to have a huge impact on the Bitcoin price. And if we have someone that is pro crypto, it's going to be great. If we have someone that hates crypto, it'd be great, but it could suck as well. It's kind of a 50-50, right?
Depends on how many meme coins get created about
Yeah,
the
depends
the
on how
next
many
guy.
Joe Biden get
Yeah.
created, right?
So speaking of Joe Biden, what kind of meme coins you buying? You know, not financial advice, not legal advice. Don't buy
No,
them. What's the
it's
dumbest
always
purchase you've made recently?
it's always financial advice. When people say not financial advice, they just say that and they think like suddenly they're not gonna get sued or anything. By the way, if you're a YouTuber saying something like no financial advice, it doesn't mean anything, right?
It's not a not a magic
It's not a
spell to keep
magic word
the
where
lawyers away.
it doesn't work like that. So honestly, I lost so much money on link corners last year that I stopped Bitcoin. But I enjoyed the projects. So I'm gonna show my badge. But I enjoyed the project that's called the SETI. It's a pretty exciting project. It's called CETI. It's fun. You should check it out. Uh, it's about cloud computing power, and how the blockchain can help with that. especially with regards to AI. And yeah, the project just started. There's a really good team. I'm an advisor for them, so I'm seeing which one I buy. But honestly, I don't really buy any meme coins, and that's the only project where I actually bought some before I joined as an advisor, and yeah, that's the thing that I'm excited for. Obviously, working at Bitcoin.com, you have to be pro BCH, so Bitcoin Cash has been doing amazing. Super happy about it. Maybe we're gonna see an ETF, BCH ETF would be nuts,
Yeah,
right?
you know what? I feel like that one's going to sneak in. People aren't going to see it happening, but I
Doesn't
think some.
sense.
Yeah, the BCH folks have been kind of theorizing that it's got to be happening, and it would make sense that maybe part of this price run up is institutional purchasing prior to, say, an announcement or prior to a launch of something like that. But yeah, I mean that is pure speculation on my end.
That's like from a legal perspective. Here, it's a fork of Bitcoin, so it's fair game, right? For ETS, I think it's on the same level of than Ethereum. The BCH is just a coin where we know it's, even though in the mining they need to be more centralized than Bitcoin, ultimately it is fair game. It is quite decentralized, and it'd be an amazing, you know, coin to be launched as an ETF. And I think people are seeing this, and that's why the price went up like 50% in the past week. So, and
Yeah,
Bitcoin, all the way Bitcoin, heavy in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash. That's my little FE.
those are your bags, huh?
Yeah.
Very cool. So I guess maybe quick opportunity for you to talk about where people can find you. What's your Twitter handle or X handle or whatever they call it these days? And yeah, where can they maybe remind us when and where you're speaking at in Paris Blockchain Week?
Yeah, so I'm speaking Paris Blockchain all the April 11th. It's 12 p.m. I think it's the main stage. And if you want to find me on Twitter, it's gonna be a tricky one, but it is my first and last name. It's not original at all.
We'll put it in
I'm
the
not.
show notes for everyone below to click on. Probably
Yeah,
make it a little bit
it's
easier.
at J Collins. I can't give you like alt account, or else I'll be lost. And my heart is my dog,
Those are
so
all
I
your
don't want to
meme.
do
That's
that.
where all your meme coin picks go, huh?
That's where all the insults, meme coins. Yeah, that's where they go. Yeah, at J Collins. Is my Twitter. Please, I'm not like that much on Twitter, but like if you want to send me care questions on, I'd love to be able to help you. It's not going to be legal advice, but I'm happy to engage with you and refer you to friends of mine that are lawyers below.
Very cool. Well, that wraps up this week's expert interview with Joseph Collement. Go check him out, Paris Blockchain Week, during April 9th to 11th in, where is it? Paris, France, I
Paris,
think
yeah.
is what you guys
It
call
is
it?
very nice.
At the Louvre. At the Louvre, the art place where the Mona Lisa hangs.
Very
So
much,
maybe
yeah.
you'll get to see it get splashed with some Campbell's soup from some woke social justice warriors
Okay.
protesting oil.
What would you do like that happen? Would you just punch the person in the face,
I don't know,
or
man. You kind of think you would have to jump in and like say you can't do this, but
I don't know? Yeah,
I don't know, man. Knowing France, he'd probably get in more trouble than the person soup and
oh, for
Mona
sure.
Lisa.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Ah, well, we'll see what happens, man. But excited to hear your talk, and thank you again for joining and giving us an update on all
Anytime.
the exciting stuff on legal and compliance in this fun world. So, yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, leave some comments below, and follow Joseph over on Twitter. I'm sure he would be more than happy to answer some questions regarding projects and things like that. He's a valuable resource for crypto people. So be sure to follow him and check out more of our videos on YouTube and X. And we'll see you guys later.